on your side. This is 6 News WOWT, live at 10.
After facing frustrations from the community, the city of Omaha is inching closer to creating a climate action plan.
And new tonight, our Marla Lundak spoke with Mayor Stothert about the effort to move the plan forward.
By the start of next year, the city of Omaha expects to have a consultant hired to help craft a climate action plan.
Yeah, it's a top priority for the city.
The request for proposals is the document that lays out the expectations and scope of services for the potential consultant. It has 6 main objectives for the consultant to achieve. Those tasks range from project management to public engagement and more.
A baseline inventory for greenhouse gas emissions in the area. How do we, what is that current baseline so that we know what we're measuring against?
The announcement of the nearly completed request for proposals comes after criticism from the community and some city council members.
We're reaffirming that support here with some frustration, I would say, on my part, that in the respect that we have not yet seen a request for proposal to get that project moving.
But the mayor says it's been a work in progress. The advisory board in charge of crafting the document has been updating drafts of it since July of last year.
Sometimes these processes do take a long time. You know, we're going forward with the streetcar. We started talking about the streetcar in 2010. You know, I mean, it takes a lot of work, and we want a lot of input, and we want to do it right.
We have a closing window of opportunity to respond to the science and avoid rapidly accelerating warming.
Creighton University professor Dr. Dan DeLeo says he hopes the plan will take a larger priority than it has, and he also hopes to see one major thing.
The overarching priority for the city plan needs to be a commitment to science-based targets. If the conversation and the plan isn't consistent with the science, I would say it's inadequate.
And the project schedule that was released today says they hope to have a consultant hired by January. That's also when they hope to have the fee for the consultant be finalized. They expect that fee to be at least $250,000, and they also expect that consultant to have a comprehensive plan done by June of 2024. Live in studio, Marla Lundak, 6 News.
New tonight, President Biden is condemning Russia's President Vladimir Putin and the war in Ukraine hours after Putin hinted that he might use nuclear weapons.
Biden on the world stage at the UN delivering a stinging rebuke of Putin's war in Ukraine, slamming Russia's attacks on schools, hospitals, train stations, and alleged war crimes. The president responding to Putin, who just hours earlier appeared to threaten the West with a nuclear strike, saying in a rare televised address, those who are trying to blackmail us with nuclear weapons should know Russia has lots of weapons of its own, adding, quote, "This is not a bluff."
They're making irresponsible nuclear threats to use nuclear weapons.
And now Putin announcing a partial draft. The defense minister saying 300,000 reservists with military experience will be sent to Ukraine. Putin calling it necessary because the West, quote, crossed all lines by giving Ukraine military aid. Though tonight that move is sparking protests across Russia, including Moscow.
All right, the calendar says fall tomorrow, and the weather is cooperating.
Yeah, temperatures are going to drop overnight. Let's get to Chief Meteorologist Emily Roller. Hey, Em.
Hey, we're already feeling that chill settle on in. Compared to this time yesterday, quite a bit cooler, about 25 degrees cooler for most of eastern Nebraska and western Iowa. This puts us in the 50s already. 58 degrees right now in Omaha. We're at 59 in Lincoln, 54 degrees currently in Harlan and York, and we have a couple of showers that are wrapping up down to the south. Everyone dealing with cloudy skies, and those clouds will stick around overnight with temperatures holding steady in the mid to upper 50s all the way through about 4 a.m., dropping into the low 50s as you're getting ready to head out the door tomorrow morning. And as you step outside, you might notice a few hit or miss showers, maybe a sprinkle to get your morning started. I'll take you through the hour-by-hour forecast and track better chances for rain as we head into the end of the work week. That's coming up. John?
Emily, at this hour, the U.S. State Department is urging Americans to flee Bermuda and avoid traveling there. Hurricane Fiona may strengthen to Category 4 by the time it nears the islands.
And right now, hundreds of thousands are without power and running water across the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico after Fiona, the strongest hurricane of the Atlantic season so far, left behind mass destruction across the two islands. The federal government has now approved a major disaster declaration request for Puerto Rico in the aftermath of the hurricane. The storm knocked out power to hundreds of thousands of homes and flooded neighborhoods. From the air, it's easy to see the devastation on the ground in Puerto Rico. Entire neighborhoods saturated with water. Many Puerto Ricans now depend on generators to power their homes if they can find gas.
Developing near Lincoln, a Nebraska National Guard helicopter remains in a field at this hour after an unexpected landing. Guard officials say the crew aboard Blackhawk detected an aircraft malfunction in the air around 3 this afternoon. They made a precautionary landing in a field just southwest of the Lincoln Airport. None of the 3 crew members were hurt. We're told the helicopter will stay in the field until it can be inspected.
A U.S. task force made up of national experts in disease prevention would like to see all adults screened for anxiety when they go to see their primary care provider. Now, as we all know, anxiety and depression increased throughout the pandemic, and many are now dealing with behavioral health challenges.
During the pandemic, they noticed that the population numbers reported went up from 30% before to almost 46 to 50% reported cases of anxiety. And so they felt that it was important enough that it's affecting a large community and that there are screening tools that we can use to better diagnose and treat these patients.
And Dr. Gupta says another challenge they are facing is a lack of mental health providers. A large Amazon distribution facility in Papillion is not yet open, but a small army of machinery installers are getting it there.
A new subcontractor is on the job after another one abruptly left the project. Mike McKnight tells us that more than 100 workers claim they are owed back pay.
Tools of the trade Cesar Del Bianco keeps handy.
I'm ready to work.
Hired by IMI of Nashville to install conveyors in the Amazon distribution center, Cesar says the subcontractor IMI skipped town and left him hanging for 2 weeks' pay.
I got all kind of bills. Where do you want me to start? Start with the room.
With per diem, the couple from Arkansas claims IMI owes Cesar $4,000.
Number one thing is, where's our money? When are they going to pay us? Or pay my husband and all the other 100 and something guys that hadn't been paid?
140 workers owed a total of $500,000 by IMI for the Papillion Amazon project. Those are numbers the Carpenters Union has constructed.
If IMI is not going to pay, it needs to go back to the property owner. They're the ones that hold the big pile of money, and they haven't paid it all out since the project's not complete.
So the Carpenters Union has gone to the Sarpent County Register of Deeds
20, 21,
and filed 32 liens on Lot 1 Willa, where they say the Amazon facility is located.
Somebody needs to come forward and step up and get these guys paid.
But the property owner isn't listed as Amazon, rather a Texas LLC. Plus, the project has a general contractor and a mechanical contractor, so there is a buffer above IMI, the delinquent subcontractor. The Carpenters Union and the workers don't want these liens to be just filed and forgotten. They intend them to be a message sent to the top of the companies involved in this project. An Amazon spokesman tells me this is a building that's going to be used by Amazon in the future, but the money that is owed is by people who are building it. He says it's not money owed by Amazon, but the Carpenters Union believes responsibility for workers' back pay can be nailed down.
This lien, hopefully, is going to put some pressure on Amazon, IMI, to get together and make sure all 100 plus of you guys get your money.
I hope so.
On your side in Sarpent County, Mike McKnight, 6 News.
IMI has a Nashville address but Canadian ownership, according to a project manager. And he tells Mike that IMI pulled out of 8 projects around the country with little notice. Federal records show IMI Logistics filed bankruptcy. And that left about 500 employees owed from $4,000 to $15,000. Many of the workers on the Papillion site have been hired by the new subcontractor.
There's a disturbing trend happening across the country. puppy dumping. In Guilford County, North Carolina, 4 puppies were left on the side of a road. They were discovered abandoned in a piece of luggage. Animal Services are now looking for people to foster those puppies. And then in Greenville, North Carolina, a litter of 7 puppies was dumped in an empty parking lot last week, and a woman is now facing charges of animal cruelty. The puppies will be up for pre-adoption in a few weeks. And in Branson, Missouri, a pack of 17 Chihuahuas were dumped and then rescued by the Humane Society. Most of them have parvo. The dogs won't be available for adoption until they are vetted.
Home sales fell by 0.4% in August from July. That's according to the National Association of Realtors. It is the slowest pace of sales since the pandemic slowdown in May 2020. Outside of that, it is the slowest pace since November 2015. The 30-year fixed rate started at 3% this year and is now close to 6.5%. Home prices historically decline from July to August due to the season, but the drop this year was wider than usual. Well, the best teas for beating diabetes, that's coming up.
And next, a warning before you book your next flight.
I'm in disbelief. Like, no, this did not happen.
Why making flight changes could cost you and how scammers are targeting customers. If you're planning to take a flight in the coming weeks or months, the Better Business Bureau has a warning for you.
6 News is on your side with how much a simple mistake could cost you when booking airfare and how scammers are taking advantage of last-minute flight cancellations.
I'm in disbelief. Like, no, this did not happen.
Sandy Smith was looking to visit her brother in Oklahoma earlier this year. Her plan was to use a Southwest airline credit to pay for her trip. So she called to make reservations. The problem was she misdialed by 1 digit and unknowingly ended up with another travel reservation hotline.
They posed as a Southwest airline, and it wasn't.
Smith says the person on the other line told her she could use her Southwest travel funds for the trip, but she had to pay additional fees.
So your total is $188.98.
She paid, and she says the supposed booking agent told her the ticket confirmation would show up in her Southwest account in 48 hours. 2 days later, with the confirmation number still not there, Smith called back, but this time using the correct number for Southwest Airlines.
I gave her all my information, and she goes, no, ma'am, I'm looking for flights anytime that week. We have nothing for you. She goes, first of all, you would have a confirmation number right then and there, and it would be in your portal immediately.
Once she realized she had misdialed on her first call, Smith called back and demanded a refund.
And then when I started pressing him on if he was Southwest Airlines, he hung up on me.
Josh Planos with the BBB says it's critical to double-check websites and phone numbers when booking a flight. And if you come across a third-party booking site you've never heard of before, Planos says do your research on the company.
News sites originate overnight. Not all of them are fraudulent, but presumably you would want to work with a company that has proven that it can be trustworthy.
The BBB also warned of scammers blasting out fake cancellation emails and text messages that can easily be mistaken for the real deal. We reached out to Southwest and Capital One after Smith told us she ran into trouble disputing the charges. Less than a week later, Smith received letters from both companies and a credit to her account for the missing $188. Southwest also told us they're providing Smith with a voucher for future travel. While Smith's happy her issue is resolved, she worries about other travelers who may fall into the same situation.
Well, I feel good that I've been heard. I'm happy that I didn't give up, and I'm happy that maybe I'll help somebody else.
With this Watching Your Wallet, I'm Carice Jackman.
The BBB also suggests purchasing your flights on a laptop rather than on the phone. That way you can see the exact URL of the website.
Tennis great Roger Federer is officially retiring, and he made that announcement just last week.
After nearly a quarter of a century and 20 Grand Slam titles to his name, he'll hang up his racket following this weekend's Laver Cup. Federer says he will miss the competition and the fans.
I love tennis, everything about it, and I will miss the competition, the fans cheering for or against me. They've usually been with me all the way, so it's been great. I can always travel, so I will not miss that. But I loved going on tour. Also at the second part of my career with my family, it's been wonderful.
Some of his fiercest rivals, including Andy Murray, say they will miss Federer on and off the court.
Tea lovers, listen up. Drinking black, green, or oolong tea may have more benefits than just a little energy boost. 6 News is on your side with some new research. It says drinking 4 cups a day could reduce the risk of developing diabetes. A substance found in many plants has antioxidant properties, which can prevent or delay cell damage in the body. The authors say, in addition to tea consumption, exercise and eating enough whole foods have also been associated with a lower risk of developing diabetes.
Your 6 First Alert forecast is sponsored by Groundworks.
We are getting ready for quite the temperature swing as the week goes on. We already felt a little bit of that out there today, and it's going to be getting cooler from here, considering where we were on Tuesday. Record high of 100. The 60s going to be feeling quite cool, and we're falling all the way down to 62 degrees as we head into Friday. That's going to be our coolest afternoon. This is going to be a 38-degree drop from our Tuesday afternoon high heading into the end of the work week. So fall weather sticking around for a while, and we're going to be feeling that out there tonight. Our showers are clearing up. We just have a little bit of cloud cover left over the cloudy skies, going to stay with us as we move through the overnight hours, but really won't prevent much of a temperature drop overnight. It's going to be chilly as you're heading out the door for your Thursday morning. 52 degrees out the door around Omaha. Will be down to the mid 40s for spots like Wahoo, Columbus. 44 around Harlan. Carroll going to be one of our coolest spots. 43 degrees as you step outside. So jacket weather early on. Might need to grab the umbrella depending on what you encounter as you step out the door. Through the mid to late morning hours, we can't rule out maybe an isolated shower or a quick sprinkle. We're not looking at any heavy rain or organized showers out the door, but that chance is there underneath those cloudy skies, and we are staying cool for quite a while. 11 a.m. we are still in the 50s. Takes us all the way until the early afternoon to warm into the 60s, and we're aiming for a high of 64 degrees around the metro. As we hit about 4 o'clock, we're reaching our afternoon highs. Low 60s expected around Columbus, 65 around Harlan, 64 in Nebraska City, and 65 around Beatrice. And as the evening goes on, we're bringing back the chance for some hit or miss showers. Now, these showers Thursday evening are going to be very light, and they're rolling in for most areas after about 8 p.m. Overnight, though, into Friday morning, chances are going to increase, and we're expecting rain to kick off your Friday morning, so you will want to have the rain gear on hand for that morning commute. This starts to clear out right around 11 a.m., and we should dry out for the afternoon. With temperatures staying cool, we're down to the low 60s around the metro, 50s out over western Iowa. Our Friday showers, although they will provide a little bit more coverage compared to what we had today, going to be quite light. We're only talking about the potential for an additional 1/10 of an inch to maybe 1/4 of an inch for most areas. A few spots where they're a bit more persistent could get lucky and see an isolated 1/2 of an inch, but not a ton of rain with that. Very cool, though, with a brief spike back into the low 80s on Saturday. After that, drop down to fall-like temperatures, 70s here Sunday all the way through Friday, back to the 80s by next weekend. You can stay on top of the forecast by downloading our 6 First Alert weather app. You can find that free in the App Store. Looking forward to this stretch of fall weather. If you've been hoping for some good fireplace weather, I think we have it this week.
It's officially here. I had to put on a jacket whenever I came back to work tonight.
Yeah, it's a little cool out there.
So I'll bet that both of you have a little vest you want to put on your dog when you take him out for a walk now, right?
I do, but I reserve it for those incredibly cold days.
Yeah,
we have wind chill.
Louie has an actual winter jacket. That's only for the snow, though.
Jax has a lot of fur. I find it all over my house, so he doesn't need that too often.
Okay, well, kind of disappointed. 38-degree drop. I thought it's time for the vest.
Might need
he can handle it.
Thanks, Em.
Well, despite upheaval in the program, recruiting must go on for Husker football.
Yeah, coming up next in sports, how Coach Joseph plans to encourage the best high school players to come to Lincoln.
6 First Alert Storm Tracker is sponsored by Greg Young Chevrolet. Now, 6 News Sports.
With limited practice, part of the Huskers staff will be out recruiting this week, and that includes the head coach. Mickey Joseph will be going down to Louisiana on Friday.
They're all in because we're selling the University of Nebraska. No matter who sits in this chair, you committed to the University of Nebraska. So we selling University of Nebraska. Like I said, we're going to do things the right way. We're not going to try to sabotage anything. If we don't get the job and we have to leave here, they're going to say we left this place better than we found it. So we're going to do things the right way. I expect my coaches to do it. I expect everybody to do their job.
Iowa on the road at Rutgers this week, opening up the Big Ten after a late night Saturday. Still not normal after the game against Nevada that did not end till close to 2 o'clock in the morning thanks to weather delays.
Recovery is always critical, but it's even more so now. Our opponents did get a jump on us, and I think all of our sleep schedules are a little screwed up still.
It's going to be important that we stay on top of that throughout this whole week and be able to get to bed on time and eat and drink the right things we need to fuel our bodies.
Yeah, hopefully nobody's up watching the news tonight, right? All right, Iowa State will start Big 12 action this week, hosting Baylor. Quarterback Hunter Deckers has been great so far, connecting on 74% of his passes. He also has 8 touchdowns. The redshirt sophomore has maximized his time in Ames, thanks in part to Brock Purdy.
What Hunter did is took great opportunity of his time growing under Brock, growing in terms of, becoming a college quarterback, growing in a college scheme.
In the film room, on the field, in the game, during practice, all those things. Just taking not just looking at my reps when I'm in, but also paying attention to the little details when he's in. I would say that's just the biggest thing I took from the past couple of years.
College hoop, this is part of the schedule that Flan has put together for the Blue Jays. Mid-November down to late December. Starts with Nebraska, but I want to take your attention to the bottom here. December 20th at Stanford, December 28th home against UConn. 2 teams that made the Final Four last year, okay? Not going to be easy, but then right after those 2 games were set, Dawn Staley from South Carolina called.
They were looking to play somebody in the Pentagon up in Sioux Falls, and we couldn't get a date, but we could have had a back-to-back Final Four teams. So I think our players would have found that quite cool, but we couldn't find a date.
I mean, it's already a gauntlet as it is. That would have been something else.
Players, though, you want to play the best teams.
Well, why not, right? Prepare for March.
Exactly.
Just can't even believe it's already basketball season. Looking forward to it. We'll be right back.
We now know why a particular farm field south of the metro was chosen as the venue for Luke Bryan's concert tomorrow night.
Andrew Stock is the owner of Stock Hay and Grain and tells 6 News that Bryan's team chose his alfalfa field for its softness, cleanliness, and of course its size. Thursday night's concert is part of Luke Bryan's farm tour. It highlights agriculture and rural communities while raising money for students interested in pursuing a career in agriculture.
So tickets, and you have to pay for parking. They're still available, but more information, just go to our website, WOWT.com.
I feel like that concert's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully, though, they won't encounter any storms tomorrow night.
No storms. There might be an isolated shower, but it's not going to get rained out. We have better chances building in overnight Thursday into Friday. Morning showers to head out the door for your end of your work week. And as we head into Saturday, brief bump back into the 80s, 70s after that.
Joe, country western fan, yes or no?
Concerts are fun. I don't listen to it on the radio, though.
So it's yes or no?
I guess no.
He's not a fan of the yes or no questions.
I guess not.
Day breaks at 4:30. Good night.